Hey everybody, it's Alex Meller at Capnion here. Today I'd like to talk about prompt engineering and a debate I see out there about it. Entry level question: what is prompt engineering? I'm going to give it a bad answer first. And the bad answer is, well, you put a prompt into ChatGPT and it does something. There's a lot to be said about what the prompt should be. It's really more complicated than that. I think really the right answer, if it's a little unsatisfying, is we're kind of negotiating exactly what this word means now, or even if we really need a word, and if there's really a discipline there that needs a name. I'm not going to get into the whole debate here. I would note there's a couple theaters of conflict. In an academic setting, there are questions. Is there really anything to be said that's very general about prompt engineering? Or alternatively, it's just this is how you use ChatGPT, this is how you use Claude. And there's not really pure knowledge independent of just jiggling the handle on a particular machine. In an engineering contest, there's also a bit of a debate. Is the appearance that there's a useful engineering discipline here just an artifact of, well, these are new and they're not very good, and eventually they'll just get a lot better and any idiot can do it and there's no need for a special skill set? I don't want to weigh in on these debates directly. I think there is an interesting conversation there. And once again, we're kind of negotiating what the word should even mean. But I will say I've seen conversation on LinkedIn trivializing coming up with prompts, and I think people have not gone deep enough in the rabbit hole to understand why there's a challenge. So in particular, I've seen a perspective like, well, I can do my prompts in ChatGPT great, and it didn't take me that long, and what is this prompt engineering thing? And I think the flaw in this reasoning is that's not really the challenging part where you would need some help from somebody experienced. The story is more like you're building an app and you're sending stuff to ChatGPT's API. A user who could have no idea what they're doing or be malicious or just generally be a strange oddball is giving you a prompt and you're grooming it into a different prompt to send to the API, and you're getting something back, and that's what comes out. So that's a whole lot harder. You're kind of backseat driving on this task of giving prompts to ChatGPT. And then for the large corporate crowd, executives out there, people involved in legal stuff, if you do this wrong, so for example, if the user is able to sucker the LLM into offering a free discount, well, maybe you're stuck giving people that discount. The stakes can actually be pretty high on getting this right. There's another layer as well of when you're building stuff with LLM in it, you quickly notice I could ask ChatGPT questions myself in the middle about what the user gave me and what the prompt I should eventually use to get the output should be. And that's a very powerful technique, but it makes the whole thing a little bit more chaotic and complex because now I'm getting an input from a user. Maybe that input from the user is misguided or crazy or malicious. I have this extra step to muddy the waters a little where I'm asking ChatGPT for advice on it, and that could go one way or another. And then I still have the final step where the outcome of this process is used to make the output I'm going to send back to that user. And it's a really sophisticated model, an LLM, and that there's a lot of potential that's a pretty chaotic system. At the very least, it's really great if you've got somebody doing that task that is aware that stuff can happen and it's pretty complex and you need to be attentive to that. it's really a much more complicated game than when you are just sitting down with ChatGPT on the web, using the prompts you like to use for the things you like to use them for. So, to recap here, prompt engineering, what is that? There's a debate in academic mathematical machine learning setting, there's a debate on an engineering level. Is this really going to stick around as a specialized skill set? That's an interesting debate. Wherever you want to weigh in on it, be aware that there's a whole lot more to it if you're building an app. Then you're really going to see if you are just one user using ChatGPT in a context where you have practiced. In a worst case scenario, it's kind of like backseat driving crazy people talking to a wizard, and that is something to handle carefully, and there is potential that maybe it turns out there's a coherent, disciplined skill set there that's worth cultivating.